everybody. Good morning, wherever you are, as we continue this conversation we've been in at St. Peter's called Jesus Reimagined, the Christian Faith Through a Hebrew Lens. And what we've noticed in this conversation we've been in through these biblical texts is that when we begin to understand more of the Jewish mindset in which the New Testament, particularly the Gospels, were written, then we begin to unlock and uncover so much detail that we've never noticed before that really helps bring color and imagination and some renewal to our faith. So that being said, this week, I want to encourage you to go ahead and read Mark chapter 5, verses 1 through 20. It's an incredible story about a demoniac who is essentially riddled with thousands of demons and his miraculous liberation and then sending into the world to bear witness of Christ's power and presence. And it's just a beautiful text. And I can tell you this, it's time to start applying some of these Hebrew things that we've learned to these texts for yourself. That when you begin to read this passage, here's what I want you to do. I want you to think and imagine yourself in the Galilee in the first century as a Jewish woman or a Jewish man. And how would being Jewish change the way that you read this text? For example, remember the prodigal son, where it says that the prodigal son went to a faraway country. That wouldn't have been like jumping on a plane and going across the world. That would have been like going into the Greco-Roman world and living differently. So when the text in Mark says that the disciples went across the lake and they went to the Gerasenes, or they went to the Decapolis, what the text is saying is essentially they have left their Jewish world and they have entered into pagan Gentile country. So when the prodigal son, for example, when it says that he went to a faraway country, what the text is saying is something like he went to a place like the land of the Gerasenes or the Decapolis or somewhere where the Greco-Roman pagan worldview reigned. So it wasn't that the son was going across the world, it was that he was moving into a different worldview. And sometimes that was as close as the other side of the Sea of Galilee. And so when the disciples go across the boat with Jesus and they interact with this demoniac, I want you to imagine that they've entered a different worldview. And so how would that worldview be different than a Jewish worldview? So when you read Mark 5, verses 1 through 20 today, I want you to imagine yourself being Jewish. And so if you were Jewish, what now comes up? What would strike you as particularly scary or different, or all of the things that when you leave your culture and you enter into another, sort of begin to make you feel all sorts of things in your mind and in your emotions? And so read with the Jewish mindset today, Mark chapter 5, verses 1 through 20, and we will unpack that on Sunday. Grace and peace to you, my friends, and I hope you are well.